Good morning, everyone. If you can hear me and if you're able to see the presentation without any trouble, please confirm by commenting on the chat panel. Good morning, everyone. If you can hear me and if you're able to see the presentation without any trouble, please confirm by commenting on the chat panel. We've received quite a few confirmations. Thank you. So let's move on with the training today. Welcome to the free Network Configuration Manager training session. Today is the first part of the two-part training where we'll be looking into configuration backup and disaster recovery. Next week, on the 28th of May, at the same time, is the second part of the training where we will be looking into configurates, compliance, role-based access control, and reports. I'm your trainer for today. My name is Arjun Premkumar, and I'm a product expert for Network Configuration Manager, which is part of Management's IDOM suite of solutions. So in the Management's IT Operation Management suite of solutions, or the IDOM suite of solutions as we call it, we have 6 different products that will help you monitor and manage different parts of your IT infrastructure. First, we have Op Manager, which is a network monitoring tool for your servers and all the network devices. Then we have NetFlow Analyzer, which is a bandwidth monitoring solution. And third, we have Network Configuration Manager, which is a configuration management, change management, compliance auditing, and user activity tracking solution. Fourth, we have Firewall Analyzer, which is a firewall log analysis and compliance management solution. And fifth, we have Operatives, which is an IP address management solution for your network. And last, we have Applications Manager, which is an agentless monitoring tool for all your applications and servers. So let's first look into configuration backup and disaster recovery, which is the first part of the training. So here's the agenda for today's training. First, we'll be looking into the need for a configuration management tool in your network to make your entire configuration management process streamlined and seamless. Then we'll be looking into the requirements, the minimum system requirements for installing Network Configuration Manager in your network. And third, we'll be looking into how you can discover devices into your NCM's inventory. Fourth, we'll be looking into how you can apply credentials. And fifth, we'll be looking into how you can back up the configuration files using NCM and the different types of backups available. And sixth, we'll be looking into change management. 7 is firmware vulnerability management, and 8 is disaster recovery. So here's why you need a configuration management solution for your network. Network admins and network operators continuously make changes in the network configuration files to serve to different needs of the business. So while making so, there's a chance that a configuration error can happen and it can be uploaded to a device which can cause anything from performance degradation to a full-blown network outage. So to prevent this, you need a configuration management solution, and we'll be talking about how an NCM tool will help you minimize configuration errors later in the training. Second is that you'll be able to detect changes in real time. And third, you'll be able to roll back to a trusted configuration version. So every device might have a stable version of its configuration where it was at its optimum performance. So if something goes wrong, if faulty configuration is uploaded, you can immediately roll back to that particular version and restore all network functions. Fourth is you can stay compliant to your internal policies and all the industry standards like PCI, SOX, and HIPAA using a configuration management solution. And fifth is that the entire process of network configuration management is streamlined using an NCM tool. So these are the basic functions that NCM will help you with while you're in your configuration management process. So clockwise, starting from the top right, you can compare 2 different versions of your configuration. You can roll back your configuration to a previous version or the more stable version as discussed earlier. You can review and approve all changes made by other network operators in your network so that you can minimize configuration errors. You can also remotely upgrade firmware using NCM. and then you can check for policy violations and ensure policy compliance. You can enable user-based access to different devices in your network. You can also detect changes in real time. And finally, you have something called a job scheduling, where you can schedule different kinds of network operations in your network. So these are the minimum system requirements for NCM to seamlessly run on your network. You need a 2 GHz dual-core processor, a 4 GB RAM, 100 GB storage, PostgreSQL or MSQL, and NCM runs both on Windows and Linux. So these specifications are for an environment which has up to 50 devices, 50 network devices. And if you have more, you can go and check out our system requirements page. And before I proceed with the training, let me let you all know that we'll be sending this presentation and all the other training collaterals in an email after this training. So these are the ports and protocols required for NCM. So the protocols are SSH, SCP, and TFTP. The ports that have to be made available for NCM to seamlessly run on a network are 69 for TFTP, 22 for SSH, SCP, 514 for syslog, 13306 for Postgre database, and 8080 for HTTP. So let's move on to device discovery. So device discovery is essentially the function of adding devices in your network to the inventory of network configuration manager. So this is how the discovery function works in NCM. When you prompt a device discovery using NCM, the discovery engine in NCM sends an SNMP request to the device. The device then sends the sysobject ID back to the discovery engine in NCM. NCM then tries to match this received sysobject ID with the set of default sysobject IDs and custom sysobject IDs already present in the NCM database. If a match is found, the device is immediately added, and the device template that is associated with that sysobject ID is associated with this device. And if a match is not found, the device is not added, but then you can add it manually, which I'll be showing you how to do. So there are two main types of device discovery in NCM. The first is SNMP discovery, and the second is manual addition. So in SNMP discovery, which we'll be looking at first, you can discover a device using IP address and IP range, or via a CSV file import. So let me take you to the UI and show you a demo. This is the UI of NCM, where this is the inventory. You can see that all the devices are listed here. So to discover a new device, you have to go to settings, go to general settings, go to discovery, go to network discovery. And here you can see that you have three options where you can choose to specify the IP range if you want to discover multiple devices that fall in a particular range of IPs, or if you want to discover just a single device, you can select this IP or host name option here. Or if you want to discover devices using a CSV file import, you can do that here. So I'm going to try the IP range based discovery here. And once I've entered the IP range, going on selecting the public credentials here. And while entering the IP range, you can also specify it both in v4 and v6, IPv4 and IPv6, which both NCM gives support to. Once you're done entering all the required details, click on Discover. NCM will then take you to the discovery report. So this is the report of the latest discovery action that I just prompted using NCM. And here you can see that NCM shows you the status of the discovery of each of these IPs. So here you can see that these devices have already been discovered and are present in NCM's inventory. And here's an error where it says that the device is not reachable. So you can add this device manually to the NCM inventory. This is selecting the device and clicking on Add to Inventory. So now this device will automatically appear on your inventory, and you can go to the inventory and associate device templates to that particular device. So going to the manual addition of device, we've looked into the SNMP based addition. So the manual addition of the device, all you have to do is go to the inventory, click on the plus icon here, which is used to add devices to the inventory. Here you can see that you can discover devices by specifying the IP address. Only a single IP address is allowed here. You can't do the IP range-based discovery, which you do in the SNMP-based discovery. Or you can import devices using a text file. So here, all you have to do is enter the IP address, select the vendor, select the device templates to which it has been associated to, enter the series, the model, and all the other requisites. And when you click on add, this device will immediately appear on inventory. And if you have a text file, you must specify the details in this particular format for NCM to be able to discover the devices specified in the CSV file. So using a CSV file or a text file, you can discover multiple devices in the manual edition itself. So these are the possible errors that might occur while you're trying to discover devices into NCM. So the device might be reachable and the SNMP community might also be correct, but the device is still not getting added. So this could be due to an incorrect SNMP community, or if the SNMP is disabled in the device. So you have to go back to the device or log in through TELNET or putting into the device and enable SNMP in this device to fix this. Another error could be that the device's subject ID is not mapped with any device template. So all you have to do is go to the device template settings, which I'll be showing you later in the training, and you have to add the subject ID. So all of this I'll be showing you later on the training. And another reason for a discovery error could be that no default device template is available for that particular device type. So for this, you can create your own device template and associate this subject ID of that device to that device template which you just created. And if you're finding it difficult to do that, you can always contact NCM support and we'll be ready to help you out. So let's move on to device templates. So what are device templates? Device templates are essentially files that contain the default commands for a particular device and series for all basic network operations like a configuration backup, a configuration upload, fetching hardware information, enabling, disabling syslog or SNMP, or any other functions that you do on a day-to-day basis to a network device. So let me show you all the device templates available in NCM. So you go to settings, you go to device management, you go to device templates. So these are the available device templates in NCM currently. And if you want to create a new device template, all you have to do is click on clone. You can choose, you can give it a new name, a description, OS type, a new vendor, a new device type. And once you've done specifying all that, you can click on next. Here, you can see the default commands for the basic operations like backup running configuration, backup startup configuration, sync configuration, and so on. You can edit these commands according to your requirement. And once you're done with that, you can click on next. So here you can associate the sysobject ID of the device which has not been discovered. And if you don't have the sysobject ID, you can always query the device and NCM will retrieve the sysobject ID of that device for you. So once you click on query device, all you have to do is enter the host name or the IP address and click on add, and the particular device of that IP address will immediately be associated with this new device template that you just created. Once you're done with that, you can click on save, and all your updates will now be saved with a new device template and the new devices associated with that particular template. So let's move on to backup credentials. So for NCM to be able to communicate with your device and to perform operations like a configuration backup, you'll have to provide the device credentials to NCM. And the device credentials have to be, the protocols used for configuration backup have to be the following. It should be SSH, TELNET, SSH TFTP, TELNET TFTP, SSH SCP, SNMP TFTP. So all of these protocols work for a configuration backup. So let's look into how each of these protocols and protocol combinations work for configuration backup. So in the SSH or TELNET based configuration backup, the configuration commands are sent through a channel, a communication channel that is established with SSH or TELNET, and the configuration backup commands are sent through that from NCM to the device, and the device responds by sending the device configuration back to NCM through the same channel. The configuration file is then encrypted and stored in the database. Next, we have the SSH SCP based configuration backup, where a communication channel is established using SSH SCP. The configuration backup commands are sent through this particular channel to the device, and the configuration file transfer happens using SCP through the same channel. NCM's SCP server then receives this file and sends it to the database after encrypting it. The SSH or TELNET and TFTP based configuration backup happens through establishing a channel again in the same way, and the configuration backup commands are sent through to the device, and the device responds by transferring the file using TFTP through the same channel. The TFTP server then encrypts and stores the configuration file in the database. And as the protocols change, it is just the communication channels and what kind of commands are sent and what particular protocol is used to send back the configuration files to the NCM server. So here you can see that no channels are established here, but the commands are directly sent through an SNMP request, and the device responds by sending the configuration file through TFTP. So let me show you how to provide device credentials in NCM. So this is a comparison of how you provide device credentials in TELNET OT on the left side, the black window, and on the right side is the window of NCM where you provide the device credentials. So this is an example of a Cisco router where the password, the prompt, the enable password, and the enable prompt are given. So these are used to, and the next is the device going, is an example of the device going directly into enable mode. Here, the username and the password and an enable prompt is given. So these are the credentials used to backup devices, backup device configurations in those particular devices which directly go into enable mode. This is an example of a 3-com router where the login, the password, and the prompt are provided here. So once you've entered all the credentials, you can click on save and test, and NCM will test if these credentials are right. So let me show you how to enter credentials. So in the inventory, click on the key icon here beside the device which you want to change or update the credentials for. And here you can see that the credentials have already been provided. The protocol has been selected as SSH, which supports configuration backup. So you can see that a login name, a password, a prompt, and an enable password and enable prompt has been provided here. So once you've entered all of those, you can click on save and test, and NCM will try to execute certain commands in the device using these credentials and check if the credentials work. If you have a credential profile that you want to associate this device to, you can select it from the drop-down here. Or if you want to create a new credential profile, all you have to do is click on the new profile here and create a new credential profile so that next time when you add devices with the same credentials, all you have to do is select the profile and it will immediately be associated. So while trying to enter or update the credentials for configuration backup in each device, you might face the following error. Credentials are valid, but the file transfer has failed. So this could be due to the TFTP or SCP servers not being started. So for this, you can go to the server settings. Go to settings, go to general settings, go to server settings. And here you can see the running status of each server in your network. So here is the TFTP server. You can see that it is in running status, and the SCP server, the syslog server, everything is in running status. And if there's a problem, if you think there's a problem, or if the status is not running, all you have to do is click on Start Service in the corresponding server and click on Save. The server will immediately be started, and you'll be able to back up your device configuration successfully. So let's move on to the different types of configuration backup and how you can back up configurations in NCM. So in NCM, you have three different types of backup. First is instant backup, which you can use to back up the configuration of a single device or devices in bulk. Then you have the real-time change detection based backup, and finally you have the scheduled backup. So let's first look into instant backup. So you can perform this backup operation directly from the inventory. So all you have to do is select one or more devices for which you want the configuration files to be backed up to. Click on the three-dot menu icon here. And once you click on backup, the configuration files of all these devices will immediately be backed up. Next, we have the real-time change detection. So this is how the real-time change detection is configuration backup works in NCM. The user logs into the device, makes a change, and logs out of the device. So NCM immediately recognizes this logout message of the user and backs up the configuration, assuming that the particular user has made some kind of configuration change and it must be not lost. So this is how it works in detail. The user first logs into the device, makes some kind of change, and he logs out the device. The syslog messages are sent for every event in the device. So syslog listener continuously listens for a logout message. So once the logout message is found, NCM immediately compares the latest version of the configuration with the previous version of the configuration. And if a change is found, if the user had made any kind of change, a change is immediately detected and the configuration file is backed up and stored in the database. And if it is not, the latest configuration file is discarded. So the real-time change detection works only if you've enabled change detection in your devices. So to enable change detection, all you have to do is go to the inventory, select the device, click on the three-dot menu here. And select enable change detection option here. So once you've done that, NCM will recognize all changes made to the device by any user and immediately back up the configurations for that device. So while trying to enable change detection for the device, you might face the following error saying that we don't support enable change detection for that device. So this could be due to the NCM not supporting syslog for that device. So you can try fixing this by enabling syslog in the device by manually connecting it through TELNET or PuTTY. Or if you're finding it difficult to do that, you can always contact NCM support and we'll be ready to help you out with that. Another error is that the change detection is enabled, but the change is not detected. So the common cause is a mismatched port. So you can go and check all the ports that you've specified. Or it could be due to the syslog server not in running status. So as I showed earlier, you can go back to the server settings and check if it is in running status. If it is not, you can start the server and the configuration, real-time change-based configuration method will immediately be activated to that device. So this is the third type of backup, which is scheduled backup. So you can do this for devices where you routinely make changes, or if you want them to be continuously be backed up because they serve a critical function in your network. So this could be any kind of a core router to a firewall where you want configuration backups to continuously happen. You can schedule them for a monthly, weekly, daily, hourly basis, or if you just want it to happen once, you can do that as well. So for a scheduled backup, all you have to do is go to settings, go to schedule, go to all schedules here. And here you click on the add icon. So these are all the existing schedules in NCM. You can give it a name. You can select the device for which you want the configuration backup to happen for. You can select individual devices, or you can select device groups. So all this depends on your requirement. You can get the report notification on an email, or you can directly save it as a report with an NCM. And you can specify the email address here to which you want the notification to be sent to, the email subject. You can also choose to get notifications here. You can choose to get a notification if there's a backup, there's a failure in backup. You can exclude the configuration difference from a notification. So these are the notification settings, and you can choose to notify if there's a change in configuration. And here is where you schedule the configuration backup. You specify the time and date here. If you want it early, you can specify when you want it to happen to, and the frequency if you want it to happen for every hour, every 2 hours, or however your requirement wants it to happen. You choose daily, weekly, monthly, or you can just choose it for once, and once you've done all of that, you can click on save. Once you've done that, the new schedule backup will be updated in NCM. So another simple way of scheduling a backup would be directly from the inventory. You can select the devices here, click on schedule, and the same window will appear, and you can specify all your scheduling requirements and click on save. So while trying to schedule backup, you might face the scheduled failure error. So this could be due to the device credentials being incorrect. So they would have been correct when you first entered them, and later the device credentials would have been changed, and you would have not changed that in the NCM. So you can go and check your device credentials and correct them, and the schedule backup should happen as required. So these are the backup failures that happen in general with all the three kinds of backup: the credentials being changed or invalid. So for this, you can go and set the credentials, the ports being blocked, or the server not being started. So we've seen this as well. You can go to the server settings and restart them. Or it could be due to the configuration file size being so huge that it exceeds the timeout for a configuration backup command. So you can go and edit the device template for this. So let me show you how to do that. You go to settings here, you go to device management, you go to device templates. So here, go and select the device template for which you want to edit the timeout settings for. So here you can see the timeout settings for each of the commands. So increase the timeout settings. And once you've done that, you can click on save, and the timeout settings will be now be updated, and you'll be able to back up the configuration file. So this another error could be due to the backup commands being unsupported. So you can go to the device templates and again check the backup commands and edit them as required, or you can just create a new device templates with the right backup commands by cloning the closest device template. Then let's move on to change management. So the change management module in NCM helps you with information like when the configuration file was changed and who changed it and what exactly was changed in the configuration. It also has an automatic configuration versioning system where every time a user makes an edit and backs up the configuration file, it is immediately versioned and stored in the database. And it also shows the change trend of a particular device. And there is also something called as a diff view, where you can see the difference between two different versions of a configuration file. Go to the inventory. And let me just take you to the snapshot page of the device. You just have to click on the device here, and it will immediately take you to the snapshot page. Here, you click on the config details. And these are the different configuration versions of that particular device. So you can see that NCM shows you the date and time of when the configuration version was captured on, the host name, the version number, whom it was changed by, the configuration type, if it was running or started, and the change type if it was authorized or unauthorized. NCM also shows you the different drafts of configuration of that particular device. And these are the current startup and running configuration in that particular device. So this is the configuration versioning system. It also shows you the what, who, and when of the changes, like I just showed you. Next is the diff view, where you can compare two different versions of configuration of the same device or of different devices, however you choose to compare them. So these differences are color coded. They have three different color codes for added, modified, and deleted. So let me show you an example of the diff view. So all I have to do is click on the icon here from the inventory, the icon with the plus and minus symbol here. And here I can select the device here. So I'm going to select the same device with the different configuration version specified here. I'm going to select configuration 666, and I'm going to pitch it against the previous configuration version. So the difference between these two versions is that these many lines have been added and no lines have been modified or deleted. I can choose to view only the difference, or I can choose to view all lines with only the differences highlighted. So you can see that I can see all the lines here, and the differences are highlighted here. So these are the new commands that have been entered, that have been added to this configuration file recently. So the next feature that we're going to look into is the firmware vulnerability management. So this is a very important feature, because if you have a vulnerable device in your network, anything can go wrong with your network. It could be a network breach, data leakage, or you can also face a ransomware attack due to a vulnerable firmware. So NCM helps you identify the devices in your network that are running on vulnerable firmware. It gives you information that you can use, and it also helps you update the firmware of the devices in your network. So let me take you to that feature. You go to firmware vulnerability. So this is the firmware vulnerability window where you can see all the CVE IDs listed, and it also gives you a base score from 0 to 10, 10 being the highest. So the higher your base score, the more severe the vulnerability is going to pick up. You also have a reference URL where you can go and read about the vulnerability. It will also contain information about how you can fix them. So once I click on this CVE ID and I drill down, it will show me the different devices that have been affected due to that particular vulnerability. So it will also show me the state of that vulnerability, if it has been confirmed or if the vulnerability has just been reported. And here, each of these vulnerabilities are split according to their severity. So you can see the critical, the important, moderate, low, and so you can view based on their vulnerability severity as well. So NCM automatically syncs this database. If you've not scheduled a database sync, it will automatically happen at 2 a.m. every day by default. Or you can go to the NCM database sync, vulnerability database sync, and change the settings to whenever you want it to happen to. So the data sync happens through the NISC. So all the vulnerability information that is available there is collected by NCM and is updated every day at 2 a.m. Or if you want, you can change the time as well. Go to firmware vulnerability, go to sync DB, And here you can see that the time has been changed. By default, it is 2 a.m. like I said. So it shows you the status, the last successful update, the next scheduled time. And once you've done changing the daily scheduled run time, you click on update now and it will change immediately. So you can also perform a CV search where you can enter a string or any particular specific of a vulnerability, and NCM will retrieve the all the NCM firmware vulnerability details and with that particular string, and it will immediately be populated here. So let me just show you an example. So here, NCM shows you the affected releases with that particular string that is just entered in the firmware vulnerability CV search. And you can use this whenever you want to search for a particular CVI ID or for a particular version number that contains a particular string. So finally, we move on to the disaster recovery. So a disaster in networks can be anything from a performance degradation to a network outage to a security breach. So all of these would affect the reputation of your business. It would affect your how your brand is perceived. It will also affect your revenue and so on. So to prevent this and to recover from this, NCM has various functions within it. So the basic 4 functions to help you recover from disaster, a network disaster, is baseline configuration, startup or running configuration sync, change notification and rollback, and then you have export configuration and upload draft option. So let's look into each of these in detail. First, you have the baseline configuration. So a baseline configuration is the most stable version of that particular configuration of that device. So if something goes wrong in a network due to one particular device, you can always revert it to the baseline configuration, which will immediately restore all network functions. So for this, you'll have to label a particular configuration version that you think is the most stable version as the baseline configuration version. So let me show you how to do that in UI. Go to the inventory. You select the device here. Click on the 3-dot menu icon. Select the label configuration version here. You can select the label as baseline here. And once you've done that, you can click on save. So the current running configuration of this device will immediately be labeled as the baseline version. So whenever something goes wrong, all you have to do is upload the baseline configuration version. So to upload the baseline version in times of a network disaster, all you have to do is select the device, click on the 3-dot menu here, click on upload configuration, select baseline, and once you've done that, you can click on save. So NCM does not allow you to upload configuration using the TFTP or SCP unless you're in the with the TFTP SCP protocol. So you can go and change the protocol used there by clicking on the key icon here. Select the credentials that support configuration upload, like SSH, TFTP, and so on. And then you can perform the configuration upload operation. So the upload error could happen to this particular reason that I just talked about. The TELNET or SSH protocol not being supported. For this, all you have to do is go and change the protocols used there from the inventory. Or it could also happen due to the SCP and TFTP protocol being used. So the device vendor supports, but NCM template does not have the upload commands for the specific device. So when this particular error occurs, you can go to the device template and edit the SCP TFTP commands. So the next option to prevent a network disaster and also recover from it is syncing the running and startup configuration. So this is very important because when a user makes the change to a configuration of a device, it is directly made to the running configuration. So this is in the volatile memory of the device, and if there is a power failure or if the device is restarted, it will immediately be erased. So all these changes, even if they were security related, critical changes will be erased. And this could lead to the device again becoming vulnerable because all the changes that the user made were completely undone by the power failure or the device reboot. So by syncing the running and startup configurations, all the changes will immediately be copied to the startup configuration of that device, and changes will not be lost after that. So NCM detects the configuration conflict, and it will also help you sync configurations. So you can do this as well directly from the inventory. So here you can see the configuration conflict. It is there in so many devices, and these two devices, the configuration, the startup and running configurations are in sync. You can also choose to view the baseline configuration and the running configuration comparison and check if they have a conflict here. So you can select the devices here to sync configurations. Go to the three-dot menu here. And click on the sync configuration option here. So this will immediately copy the running configuration to the startup configuration, and no changes will be lost after that. So while trying to sync configuration, you might face the upload failure option. So this could be due to a command timeout. So you can go and change the timeout settings as I showed earlier in the device templates options. So this could also be due to the TFTP or HTTP servers not in running status. So you can go to the server settings and change them accordingly. So NCM sometimes does not detect the startup running configuration because the real-time change detection is disabled in those devices. And you can go and enable change detection if that is the case. And if syslog is not supported by that particular device, the startup running configuration will be detected after the next successful backup, be it scheduled backup or manual backup. Any kind of backup NCM will detect it after. So another way to prevent a network disaster or to revert from a network disaster would be to enable change notifications or a rollback mechanism. So let me show you the entire scope of the change notifications in NCM. So you go to change management here. So these are the current enabled change notifications. So they've already been disabled here. If you want to enable them, all you have to do is click on here. And if you want to add a new notification, all you have to do is click on the plus icon here. Give the notification profile a name, a description, and choose the channel via which you want the notification to reach you. Choose email, enter your email, subject the message, the format in which you want the email to be sent here. You can also choose SNMP traps. You can use this to be directly sent to your network monitoring devices like Off Manager or any network monitoring solution that you currently use. And you can choose SNMP trap. You can choose the syslog to send messages to your syslog messages to your log monitoring solution. Or you can choose to raise a trouble ticket here, enter all the specifics here, click on save. Or if you don't want any notifications to be sent, but also want the device configurations of any particular device, be it a critical router, a core router, or an important firewall in your network. If you want the configurations of those files to be untampered, you can always enable the rollback mechanism. So you can do this by selecting rollback option here. And if you want the configurations to be rolled back to its previous version or to its labeled baseline version after every change, you can select whichever you want here. And once you've done that, you can click on next. Here you can associate device to which you want to enable change notification or the rollback mechanism in. So once you're done, you can select specific device or select device group. So once you're done with that, you can click on save and the new notification profile will immediately created here. So finally, we have the export configuration option. So this can be used when NCM is rendered unavailable. You can use the exported configuration file, edit it in your manual consoles like your TELNET or PuTTY, and then upload it to the device. So you can export configurations in a readable format. You can also schedule them to whenever you want the configuration files to be exported to. If you want them to happen very regularly, you can do that as well. So here you have the export configuration option here inside settings. So here you can choose the schedule to whenever you want it to happen. You can do it for daily, hourly, monthly. And you can choose to receive a notification via email for every export configuration operation. Here you can select the device or device group for which you want the configurations to be exported for. You can choose to get a notification if there's a failure. You get a notification via email. And if you want to keep all the configurations that have been exported in the same folder, you can do that here. And here you can choose the destination directory. So this is the directory where you'll find all the configuration files within the NCM server. Once you're done with that, you can click on save if it is a schedule, or if you want to export configurations immediately, you can click on the export configuration files now option here. So you can use these text files, edit them whenever required, and if NCM is rendered unavailable for some reason, you can use these configuration files, edit them, or you can directly upload them using TELNET or PuTTY into the devices. So thank you for being here, the training. And if you're already using NCM, you can share your experience with us about how NCM has helped you in your network with various operations like configuration backup, change management, firmware vulnerability management, role-based access control, network operation task automation with configlets, and so on. You can go and give us a word here. You can share your experience on Capterra. So you can go and fill the form here in the link given below. We'll also be sending this URL through email. So these are some of the excerpts of some of the reviews we've received from our customers previously. So we'll be meeting again for the part 2 of the training, which is on 28th of May, same time, where we'll be looking into configlets, compliance, role-based access control, and reports. So the agenda would be as follows. We'll be looking into how you can schedule configuration tasks, about CLI configlets, about network compliance with industry standards and internal policies, role-based access control, notification and alerts, and finally, we'll be looking into reports. So let's stay in touch. If you have anything to ask to our support technicians or product experts, you can email us at ncm-support@manageengine.com. You can go and check out the webinar videos on our YouTube channel, which is Op Manager Tech Videos. You can also go and participate or even have a look at our customer discussions on our forums, which is forums.manageengine.com/network configuration manager. So once again, thank you for attending the training. Let's meet again next Thursday, same time.